Yo, what is going on, guys? Johnny GB here, bringing you guys another TCGO deck profile. It has been quite a while since I actually have done a TCGO deck profile for you guys, and I think I actually found the perfect deck to do it with. It's actually a deck I've had some very good success with here. Just actually won a tour, you guys see here, ended. You can go into the events right here, and I think it'll show it. So, we did just win a tour, and before I actually get into the gameplay, we're going to go here into the deck manager. I'm going to show you the deck, what did I win with, and how I won. So, we're going to go into my standard decks here. You guys see these. I have not showcased the Alolan Muck GX deck. There's some changes I want to make to this deck before, and I actually updated the Alolan Ninetales deck, so there's some changes there. So, I mean, you guys see the stats on this Alolan Muck deck. Decent stats here with the Alolan Ninetales deck. 50% win rate with the Vikabulu, but we have this, the Goliso-Garb. I'm 66% ratio here, but we're going to take a look here at the deck and kind of just let you know some of the stuff that we are running in the deck, why we're running it, before we get into it, and if there's any suggestions that you guys think I should make to the deck, feel free to leave them down in the comments section below. If there's any misplays that I made, please point them out, because that does help me become a better TCG player, as I am looking to improve and play more tournaments. So, first off, we have 4 copies of Trubbish now. This is the Guardians Rising Trubbish. Stromp off 1 Psychic Energy, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. So, pretty basic card. It's not the primary attacker. We have 4 Garbodors here. Now, I do have to make some changes to this deck right now, just to improve upon it, because I have 4 Gliscopod GX, so I don't need 4, but there's a couple more trainers I do want to add to it, but I won't change it for the sake of this deck profile. We have 2 copies of the Breakthrough Garbodor with the Garbotoxin, so if it has a tool card, I can play, I can negate the abilities of all Pokemon on the field. So, this is very handy versus Metagross, very handy versus Solgaleo, even Metagross Solgaleo decks. This is actually a very good check to those decks. Then we have our late game cleaner. We have the Trashalance Garbodor from the Guardians Rising set. Trashalance does 20 damage for each item card in my opponent's discard pile. Pretty much by the end of the game, your opponent should have at least 7 or 8 tool cards. And now you're pretty much just being able to do a lot of damage to your opponent late in the game. We have 4 copies of the Burning Shadows Wimpod. This is the better Wimpod, simply because of its ability to Wimp out during my first turn. This Pokemon has no retreat cost. Very good if you open up with Wimpod on the bench and you're trying to build up something. And then just for Grass and Double Colorless, which is pretty much generic Gliscopod energies. Grass and a Double Colorless works for the Guardians Rising Gliscopod and for the Burning Shadows Gliscopod GX. So, pretty basic. This is your main Pokemon you want to get out turn 1 so that you can get into these guys right here, Gliscopod GX, and the main attack you're going to be using is this first one right here. We have First Impression, 30 damage, and if this Pokemon was on the bench and it becomes the active, it does 90 more, so it's dealing 120 damage, which is 2-coing almost everything in the meta for 1 grass energy. Very good. And on quite a few occasions I do use Cross and Cut GX, where I can switch this Pokemon with one of my bench Pokemon. Very good if this thing actually has a, if another Pokemon has a Float Stone, because then I can just come back in and Armor Press or First Impression to knock them out. Now, I am going to take one of these out, because I do want to add potential Choice Bands into this deck. I do not run Choice Bands. But before we get into the trainers, we have the Gliscopod from Burning Shadows. So it has the ability Armor, so it takes 30 less damage from attacks. Pretty good, considering it only has 130 HP. I was considering bodybuilding dumbbells to give it an extra 40 HP, making it up to 170. I feel like that could actually be a very good idea to make my Golisopod a little bit bulkier. And then it has the ability attack Resolute Claws, 80 damage. You know what, for 3 energy, 80 damage is not bad. But if my opponent is a GX or an EX, it does 70 more damage. So we're looking at 150. If I do add the choice bands into this deck, we're looking at 180 to GX or EXs, which is fantastic because that's Okoing your Tapu Leles. That's a first impression plus the Resolute Claws taking out stuff like Espeon, Umbreon, and opposing Golisopod. So it's a very good card. 150 for 3 energy, I mean, just very good right off the bat. And then I only run one Tapu Lele. I have one, so might as well actually just run it. Wonder Tag, very good ability. Energy Drive is a very good late game tech as well. Now, as far as the trainers go, I have 3 copies of Switch, mandatory for this deck. You want to be able to get your Golisopods in so that you can deal 150 damage, or not 120 damage, right off the bat. So if you can get a Golisopod set up by turn 2, you can take out stuff like Metang, Cosmoem, Kirlia, opposing Ralts. You can take out opposing Wimpods if they're not set up, so there's a lot you can do. You can also take out Garbodors if you play Kukui. So this deck has a lot of potential. It's actually a very good deck. I have 3 copies of Ultra Ball. I use Ultra Ball mostly to search out my Wimpods, but you can also use it to search out your Golisopods, your Garbodors, your Tapu Lele. I have 2 Revitalizer. I think this is actually a very key card for this deck. Put 2 Grass Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand. I mean, if you lose a Golisopod, you can get it right back with the Revitalizer. We play 2 Heavy Ball because almost everything in this deck is 3 retreat cost. Then I have 2 Max Potion. I don't use them that often, but it's actually very handy seeing as this deck only uses Pokemon that require 1 energy. Garbodor, Golisopod, they really just need 1 energy to do work. So you're not losing much by losing that 1 energy. I do probably want to put an energy retrieval or an energy rescue into the deck, just to get back the energy that I may discard from Max Potion. We have 2 Rescue Stretcher, just a good way to get your Garbodors, your Wimpods, or Golisopods back. 1 copy of Field Blower. This is actually very good. 1, because you're blowing away choice bands, fighting Fury Belts, Float Stones from opposing Pokemon. But that also is putting items into your opponent's discard pile so that Garbodor can go and clean up late game. And then as for the supporters, 3 copies of N, staple. 3 copies of Sycamore, again, just another staple. 2 copies of Acerola. Now, I might make this 1 copy, just because 2 feels a little bit cluttered in the deck, and it's not a supporter I really use very often. I might add another Bridget into this deck, actually, because getting your bench set up is key for this. If you can get 2 Wimpod, 1 in the active, and a Trubbish on the bench, you're pretty much set for the game. So it's a tough call here. 3 Guzma, again, just another staple. You need the Guzma. This switches your Golisopod out, you bring in one of your opponent's Pokemon, and now you're pretty much rolling. And then I have 4 copies of Floatstone, so I don't have any choice bands. I'm actually using the Floatstone so that my Golisopod can get out, and I'm dealing 120 every turn. And then for the energy, we have 11 energy in the deck. We have 3 double colorless, 4 rainbow, and 4 grass energy, so just very standard. So we're going to actually hop right into the versus ladder. Now, I actually am doing pretty well in the versus ladder. For the amount of time I've played, I've actually played like 5 games on the versus ladder, 6 games on the versus ladder with this deck. Actually, no, 3 games on the versus ladder, 3 games on this last tour that I played. But let's look for an opponent here, because I'm actually very excited for this deck. It's a deck that I am going to be building in real life to be using at future tournaments. That is the main goal here, is to use this deck in future tournaments. I've already ordered some of the stuff for this deck. I have a couple of the cards, but I do need some Golisopod GXs. I have the Guardians Rising. I just ordered my Wimpods today, and then I just have to see if I have a lot of the trainers and that stuff, because I know I have one full art Guzma, but I do not know if I have any more Guzma. So, let's see, what do we open up with? Trubbish, a couple Trubbish, which, I mean, it isn't horrible. Kind of actually want to put a floatstone on this one and make that my, what's it called? The not Guardians Rising, the, Breakthrough Garboder. Oh, so he's playing Goliso-Garb. I think that's what it is. I think that's what he's playing. So actually, you know what? Yeah, let's do that. So let's put the floatstone on there. I don't want to waste this switch. And we're actually just going to Stromp off here because I want to discard cards from his deck. And there's Alter the Moon, so anything with a Psychic Energy has 2 retreat cost less, which is actually great for Drampa because it does get free retreat if it does have a Grass Energy attached. The issue is here is my Rainbow Energy is a special energy. And he's probably just going to go for the Righteous Edge, deal me 20 damage, get rid of my special energy. But he does have 2 tool cards used so far. Maybe 3. Just 2. So looking, he's probably going to Lele for maybe a Sycamore or an N. Those sound pretty likely here. Yep, there's the Sycamore. So he's probably going to play the Sycamore here. He's going to discard his 1 card, Psychic Energy, which is fine. So I'm in a pretty tough spot here. I did not open any Wimpod, which actually really sucks. This is actually really bad. I'm gonna actually have to discard one of my Goliso-Pod. Okay, so I do get one there. Alright, well, that's all I can do until next turn when I can come in. It's very weird playing on the Versus ladder because I'm seeing decks that I would normally never see in a tournament, and that's what I'm getting here with this Drampa deck. Is I haven't run into a Drampa Garboder deck, so I'm not too sure of how to go around beating it. So he's going to end my hand. That's actually not good because I need a Garboder for this next turn. Not a Garboder, Goliso-Pod. Didn't get it. So there's Berserk. He's going to take out my Garboder, and we're already playing from behind. How many item cards does he have? 1, 2. He only has 2. Alright, well. I'm actually going to have to get rid of a Sycamore and a Grass Energy. I'm going to need that Rainbow Energy for a Garboder. But we want to get a Goliso-Pod out. I actually have Rescue Stretcher, so I'm not too worried, really. Because I can actually go in and deal heavy damage right here. Actually can just Rescue Stretcher now and shuffle the Trubbish, the Garboder, and the Goliso-Pod back into my deck. And do I Rainbow Energy? Do I need to Rainbow Energy? No. Alright, so we're going to get the Goliso-Pod out. We're going to First Impression for 120. So this Drampa's actually 2 code. So Berserk does 80 damage. Shuffle your deck into your hand, then draw 10 cards. So this is actually going to deal me 150 because this Garboder does actually have 10 damage. Shame, but that's what it is. That's all I can do. So I'm going to be taking 150 here. This is where I would really like to get a Max Potion. especially with him using an item card here. He actually got tossed an N. Interesting. He's playing the new Darkrai. So we got 1, 2... Was that just 2 item cards? Wow, I thought he used more. If I can get a Field Blower, I can take out 2 right here. So there's 160 actually because of the 10 extra damage from the Fighting Fury Belt, so we're going to end. I got nothing in my hand. But I actually do draw the double colorless. And a Garbodor. Does Garbodor take this thing out? He has Field Blower, Ultra Ball, so he only has 2 items in his discard pile. I don't like that. I'll actually give this thing a float. I should actually give the Garbodor a float stone. We'll just first impression. I messed up by giving this thing the Rainbow Energy. So there we go. There's the misplay there. I should have actually put the double colorless onto the Goliso-Pod, took it out. But now I'm banking on pretty much hoping he plays a couple more item cards, or I do draw into a what's it called? Blanking. A Field Blower. If I blow into a Field Blower, I think I'm actually going to be in a solid position. It's looking like I only might get 2 games in. That's the problem with playing on the ladder. Huh. Why would he switch into this one? Multi-switch. Move an energy from one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. Oh, that's actually a nice ability. I might think of playing a multi-switch, because now he can hit me for 160. And take out my Goliso-Pod. So now we're just playing from behind. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So he has 4 item cards, and his Garbodors don't have energies. So that's actually kind of clean. I'm not gonna lie about that. That's actually kind of clean. We're gonna Trash Lance here, see how much this does. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end up losing this game. So we're gonna concede here, because he's still gonna do 160 to me. Alright. So let's load up another game. So we're 4 and 7 with the deck. Alright, so didn't see the deck we're actually going against, but hopefully the luck's a little bit better than what last game was. Last game was a pretty bad opening hand, and this one actually looks like it's another pretty bad opening hand. Unless I can get like an N, or actually if he can end me, that's pretty much my only way of this battle being successful. Because I can Ultra Ball, get rid of a Max Potion and a Rescue Stretcher. So he's playing Tapu Koko. Not play unless he's like a Vikavolt Bulu. Alright, so he's got double Tapu, Wonder Tag for please an N. I really want to see an N. Judging that he opened, yes, perfect. Seeing that seeing that he opened up with just a Koko, and he looks like he probably had the Lele in the hand. He's going to be N-ing right here, which is fantastic for me. I have no complaints about him using an N. It helps me out tremendously. Because actually, that doesn't even help me. We're going to play Floatstone here, and I'm actually going to use my own N. I should have put a Rainbow Energy on there, but I do want to save a couple of the rainbows. So we're going to Ultra Ball. I'm going to get rid of Switch and a double colorless for a Goliso-Pod. And then that's pretty much all I can do. damage, or Choreo. Feather Dance, during your next turn, this Pokemon's Pom-Pom Punch is 100 base damage for 1 energy. That's actually not bad. The problem is that's a 2-turn attack. And that's, I don't like that. So, Ilima, each player draws with their hands. Oh, so it's a weird, it's a different N. That actually works perfect. Because one, I can Heavy Ball for Gliscopod, Wimpod. I can Heavy Ball for Gliscopod GX. And I can get a Garbodor set up. I mean, this is good to go. I should have actually played this Gliscopod. Starting to think about it. That's probably a mistake on my part. Yeah, I'd be doing more damage to this thing. We're just gonna Armor Press. How many item cards is he used? Just the one Max Elixir. So I have to keep an eye out for the item cards. I know I'm gonna go for that Crossing Cut GX next turn. Because one, I will be getting another item card. Oh, he's just gonna switch. I mean, I guess while I have this thing out, I might as well. I guess I'll just Sycamore my hand. Shame I didn't get that Gliscopod going, because that would have actually been perfect for this deck. Let's get another Wimpod out on the bench, and we're going to switch into my Gliscopod. And go for the first impression, pick up the kill on the Oricorio. And we get another Wimpod. So, Bridget at this point is expendable to Ultra Ball because I'm going to have a third Wimpod set up. So, I'm going to be looking to having to use potential different resources here for this, instead of the normal. So he's playing another Coco. Tapu Hunter. Okay. That is actually an issue. That is actually a big issue. So everything I think on my hand is expendable at this point. Bridget doesn't help me here because I've already used another one. Yeah, I mean, look at this hand. Just easy setup here. Easy setup. The one I'm actually going to grab. I'm going to grab one Gliscopod GX. And I'm actually going to rescue Stretcher for the non... Oh, no. That's a misclick. That sucks. Alright. That really sucks. Because now the Coco's going to deal, what, 150 to me? 160. Because of the choice band. So I need to get... He still has the one item card. 2 item cards now. So, still not in range of Garbodor to clean up. As he grabs another Lele. Okay. So he's probably going to grab another Sycamore off the Lele to draw 7. Let's see, what else is there? Actually, he just goes for the Ilima. So he's going to grab the heads, draw 6. I'm going to grab the tails, draw 3. So, I mean, we've evened out here. That is perfect. The only thing that makes this better is if I draw a... what is it called? Yep, that's actually perfect. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to end my hand. I know I have a Guzma, but I have 2 float stones. I have 2 float stones being used. Garboder set up. I have another Garboder getting set up. I think both of my rescue stretchers are in the discard pile. Let's see, where are they? Yep, both of them are. That sucks. And we do want to retreat into my next Goliso-Pod. Because he has, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. I'm only doing 80 so far with Garboder. So I have some work to do before I can clean up. I need him to use a few more item cards like that. So that's 5. I'm dealing 100 right now. I need my field blower. I think to win, I'm going to need my field blower to blow 2 of them away. 6, 120. Let's see. Max Elixir would be nice. Oh, actually, I'm just going to take out this Coco right now. Unless I can Guzma. Oh, and a revive. Perfect. That Revitalizer is actually perfect. Because I can get these two. That was actually perfect. Getting that Revitalizer is freaking amazing right now. Because, bam, I have my bench set up, essentially. And I know I'm going to lose a Goliso-Pod here. But taking out one of these Coco now ensures that another item's in his discard pile. So he has 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. So now Garboder is dealing 160 damage. 180 damage now. And I get the double colorless, which is perfect for this one. So, unfortunately, I do have to let one of my Goliso-Pod fall. But this means I can just go into this. And can I actually Guzma to pick off another one? The problem is if I pick off this one, then I actually lose to... Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is 180. Oh, perfect. That's actually perfect. We'll throw this down here. And we're just going to click Trash Alliance, and you're going to see that Garboder... Oh, wait! Why did the damage decrease? Crap. That sucks. That really sucks. Yep, so he's just gonna Guzma me. Oh, that sucks. Oh, that sucks. Well, we're 0-2 with the deck. So, not very happy with how that's been played. We'll get one more game here. And hopefully I can pick up a win. If I didn't throw away that Goliso-Pod, maybe if I actually have choice bands in this deck. I'm a little confused on why that damage decreased. I really thought I actually KO'd. But we see Electric, Fighting, Psychic, and Grass. So, I mean, this is a pretty interesting deck. It could have Zygarde EX, it could have Tapu Bulu GX, it could have Tapu Koko, the Flip Koko. So, a lot of interesting options here that are going to be used. Alright. So hopefully I can get a good game for you guys to see if I can pick up a win. And speaking of win, this is actually a very good hand. Because I got Switch, I got Goliso-Pod GX, I got N, So let's see what he's playing. I actually have these Charizard sleeves, and these Charizard sleeves are actually very nice. Okay, so we see the Zygarde. And I'm immediately going to end my hand because I do not like that opening hand. There's an energy and a float stone. This is perfect. And a Trubbish. And a field blower. I love that hand. So, I hit Zygarde for weakness. I see a Pikachu. Tail Whip. So is he playing Raichu GX? And then he's playing Lycanroc. So that damage increase was actually scary. Alright, so there's that. So we got that set up. We got a Goliso-Pod set up. Problem is I need that double colorless. What does this do? Power memory. Discard all 3 energy cards attached to this Pokemon. Oh, he's just playing Raichu. When you play this Pokemon, leave one of your Pokemon paralyzed. Alright, come on, breakthrough. Alright. So let's get rid of this. This is really sucking right now because I need some type of draw support card. Because I can KO this Zygarde. Oh, he forfeited. I mean, a win's a win, I guess. And 50 coins off the power box. Not bad. And then we get the Slow Kings. So, that will probably do it for this deck profile, guys. I do apologize for this not being a very good battle. Very good session. Just got thrown off guard by a couple of the decks. So I do see some of the changes I do need to make. I do need to swap out the... maybe get some choice bands in there because I was missing on a couple kills due to not having choice bands. But if you guys enjoyed this, go ahead, leave a like down on the video, comment you guys' support, let me know what decks you guys want to see. If you guys want to see more Goliso-Garb Odor, let me know so that I can probably do a little bit better for you guys in using the deck. But with all that being said, guys, I'm Johnny GB, and I'm out.